I have a very serious update to bring you all following the fights over the weekend. I have an update with women's boxer Shadasia Green. This video will outline what happened, her current condition, and her message to the fans and who's been in their corner, and then some. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, this is one of the parts of my job that I truly don't enjoy, and it's when a fighter in this beautiful sport known as boxing has a shocking reveal as far as their health or updates. I personally don't like seeing that. The Oliver McCalls, the fighters like, Mildred Taylor and, different fighters we've seen throughout the course of history that in their time, they were great fighters, but boxing kind of caught up with them. Obviously, Muhammad Ali, what did Jay-Z say? They gave Muhammad Ali the shakes. You know what I mean? I don't like to see that as much as I love boxing. Now, Shadasia Green did update the fans and let the fans and the entire world know what went on and why she looked like that in the Lani Daniels fight. And we find out that her condition was a lot more severe than maybe people knew, right? And I made this graphic for you guys. Shadasia Green reveals that she suffered from a brain bleed. So she is currently in the ICU, intensive care unit, recovering. Wow. And I said, prayers up for Shadasia Green, who reveals she suffered a brain bleed following her loss to Lani Daniels, currently recovering in the ICU. She says that Jake Paul's MVP Promotions has been by her side and thanks the fans for the support. This is why you should refrain from aggressive trash talk in boxing before you know the medical condition of the opponent when they don't walk themselves out of the ring and are then gurneyed and placed on a stretcher, right? And we'll get back to that. Shadesia says, with everything in me, I want to thank those who had great concern and even the people who figured out during the fight that something was wrong. And shout out to Christina Poncher and the commentators. I think they did a good job, and they outlined and noticed she was wincing. Clearly, something looked up, and the commentators were even talking about it, right? She said the people figured out something was wrong during the fight. I passed out, which again, I told you, and I previously reported, she wasn't remaining conscious. She was falling into unconsciousness. I passed out due to bleeding out of my brain. However, I am in the ICU on the road to healing. I'll be back to get what's mine 100% covered. I appreciate MVP Promotions and Nikisa being right by my side in the hospital. God is good. So that is good. And then MVP put out an official statement. And it's being reported. You can find it elsewhere if you don't believe me for whatever reason, even though I'm the best in the business and it's not even close. Shadasia Green suffered brain bleed, now recovering in the ICU, right? So what happened? I wish, before I get into Claressa Shields' aspect of this video, I wish Shadasia Green a very speedy recovery. And I really hope that she is able to continue her career and continue doing what she loves or whatever she so chooses. Boxing is a grueling, nasty, and brutal sport. And at the end of the day, you don't want to hear about this. I mean, I understand it's the truth, but you don't like to hear about stuff like that, right? I've literally watched fights where the person, succumbed to their injuries after, and I was watching the fight live, right? And she continues on her social media. From round 4 to the end, I was complaining about my head, right? So clearly she had like issues with her brain and she was bleeding, all right? All I can do is say I wish her a speedy recovery. Now, I made a video, got blocked by Claressa Shields. This is what I was talking about. Some people don't want to hear it. I told you in this game, I am nice. I am elite. I don't take back what I say because I formulate it a certain way. Everything I say on these videos and everything I said in the past, it stands because guess what? I think about what I do before I do it, before I act, right? And Claressa Shields, the way she conducted herself immediately after the fight, I called it out. And I think rightfully so, because you see an opponent who's clearly hasn't come to their senses and they don't walk out of a ring, you probably, again, I can't speak for no one else, but you probably should fall back on like trash talking and making the moment about you while we understand what's going on and see if the person is really okay, right? And I posted stuff like this, right? I'm always on the front lines, even when it's unpopular. Y'all said, oh, you're doing too much. I'm not doing too much. You see how dire the situation is. I said Claressa Shields facing backlash from the fans for insensitive posts tweeting about Shadasia Green, who was taken out of the ring on a stretcher without knowing the status of her health before starting to taunt. Again, I am goated in this boxing game. Everything now, do you see why am I doing too much now? When we come to find out that the girl got a brain bleed, right? Am I still doing too much? I try to tell you this wasn't a good look for Claressa Shields. And I said the game is in a weird place. I didn't tag Claressa, but she searched it up or whatever and found my tweet and said, I did not rejoice. And then said, I need to tighten up. But the proof is in the pudding. I literally have receipts. Crying emoji, T symbol. Congrats, Lani Daniels. Like, if this is not rejoicing, you tell me what it is, right? Where you're literally putting emoji. Look, this is all Claressa Shields. And this who y'all said was going to beat me? Fuck out of here. Lani Daniels just TKO Shadasia Green. Crying emojis with the talk. You didn't do this. Lani Daniels did it. And then come to find out, she suffered a medical emergency in the ring since round 4, according to Shadesia. And then this is why this stuff like this comes back to bite you. When you act classless and you don't even have regard for your fellow fighter and fellow human, and you're like, big round for Lani. Woo! Man, Shadesia looked tired, man. Right? I get regular commentary like, oh, so-and-so's losing. Oh, coach said you want to go home without the belt? LOL. Dang, Shadesia, better tighten up. Lani not playing with sweet ass. You calling her names and stuff like that. And then she out there a warrior doing her best with a brain bleed. Got to claim the lives of fighters and put people in comas and stuff like that. And y'all had the nerve to say that I was wrong. Bad look for Claressa Shields. Now, after finding the severity out of Shadasia's like medical condition, Claressa's kind of walking it back now. And she's like, oh, now she's putting out tweets and whatever, talking about, I wish Shadesia a speedy recovery and this is different. And now she's kind of cleaned it up a bit. But the reality is you already put out what you put out. And the world got to see it and get a taste of what you was on. And it don't matter if you try to walk it back. It's like somebody saying the N-word, like, and calling people with the hard R, right? And then, you know, when them celebrities get busted for doing that. And then after they get caught and it's backlash, they're losing endorsements and sponsorships and people are outraged and like not supporting them and unfollowing them and stuff. Then they come out and be like, oh no, I love black people. I have one black friend and stuff like, no, we've seen what type of time you was on before. And your boy Ego warned y'all, like, this wasn't it. And I think Claressa Shields, she finds a way to make moments about her. And there's things that are really, truly greater than boxing, like human life. And I got all the receipts. I posted all this. She talking about these bees can't whoop me. What about to see if the girl's like, all right, she was being stretchered out and whatnot, right?
Oh my God! This shit, they can just get fucking stopped!
And you can hear Papoose laughing in the background. Now, what's worse is coming to find out the condition that she was in and fighting through. Now this just looks bad. The internet is forever. Papoose is your boyfriend, your man or whatever, Pap upstairs and all that. He out here laughing at a girl. Man, you ain't fighting her. Ah, ha, ha. And then Claressa got the nerve to say, I'm a gossip. All right.
Oh my God! This shit, they can just get fucking stopped! Whoa! 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 Oh my God! Shadesia! Whoa.
And y'all can say whatever you want, but she did this to taunt.
Congrats, Lani Daniel.
Don't play semantics with me.
You that girl. Lani, you're that girl. With your heavy-handed self.
And again, I truly believe Claressa is giving props to Lani because she already beat her, so she feels like this is a boost up for her. And again, this ain't champion behavior to act like this.
You that girl. Congrats, boo. God damn. You wanted to have a belt, didn't you?
You see the laughter in her voice. Oh, you wanted to have a belt, didn't you? Patting her hair and stuff. Look, bro. And then y'all got the nerve to ever say I'm wrong. So again, once again, Claressa Shields, mouth wide open, like doing all this extra. It aged like spoiled milk. The girl was seriously hurt, and you did all this extra. I'm not even talking about how you hated on Alicia Baumgardner. That's a whole separate issue because at least she not in the hospital. She posting like regular scheduled programming. But it's funny because you have Terrence Crawford, Claressa, Shakur, this whole little clique, and they're constantly talking about y'all don't box. You guys are just YouTubers. Y'all are fans. Y'all don't know boxing. But guess what? The silly YouTuber, Boxingego, had it dead on and knew it had enough wherewithal to be like, yo, I don't know what it is, but something was up with Shadasia Green. And then when I seen her get carted out, I'm like, yeah, Claressa probably shouldn't put these like negative videos out without knowing. So how does the YouTuber have the wherewithal to keep it respectful given what we've seen? And like I said, Christina Poncher and all them, they were saying something was wrong with her ringside, and it looked like something was wrong with her. And if you know boxing, you'll know there's certain characteristics of how people generally act when something is not right. They start blinking and wincing, and they get faint and pass out and all, you know what I mean? Blackouts and can't stand and have to get fanned off. Like there's certain things so where you could tell it's like this looks beyond just the scope of a regular knockout. But again, I try to tell you this Gen Z, they a bunch of crash outs. We live in an oversharing society, and that's what happens. The internet's forever. You already put out what you put out and people seen it, and then now you can try to walk it back, but people know deep down how you really felt and what you initially put out. That's why I said in sensitive times like this, you should